Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast 260. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, along with Johnny V.
Oh, it's good to be heard. It's good to be heard. I don't have to sit and
No,
just listen to you
let's get
all the
back to our live
time.
broadcast, and we don't have to hear you. Oh my gosh!
No, just you have to hear me during the live broadcast. Nobody else does.
Trust me, it's bad enough. All right, I'm trying to listen to encore sounds. I've got the beautiful tones of Robert McCall whispering in my ear, and then I have to hear Johnny V barking from back in Milwaukee studio. He doesn't even have a mic, and I hear him barking.
If our cameramen would just do what they're told. Just kidding. Our guys were great today.
So very exciting night here tonight. Of course, this is the first night of the Disc Golf World Championships, the PDGA World Championships, presented by Infinite Disc. Want to make sure to get that shout out there. They are the presenting sponsor, and we're in the Peoria area. You always say Peoria, but it's really Peoria Metro. I think we're in Morton, Washington, and Pekin, I believe, is actually where we're technically in, but we're going to call it Peoria. Well, that's because what everyone does. So.
And everyone calls it Eureka, but it's actually just Eureka Lake is the reason why the course is called Eureka. I
believe it's also the town of Eureka.
Is it the town? Because I've looked it up, and I haven't been able to find it on Google Maps. It like always brings me to more. It always brings me to like community.
So we are excited for everyone to join us tonight. We, of course, had the opening round that took place today, the MPO card. There's a lot of chatter about feature card. Well, there were 4 or 5 different feature cards when you're talking about both the MPO and the FPO side of things. So we had a live card that was different from any of the post-production cards that were also available. So those guys, all the post-production guys, are, of course, working their tails off in various parts of the Peoria metro area to try and get you that post-production for tomorrow. So hope that you guys did enjoy it. What we're going to do tonight is going to be a little bit unique in that I believe we're going to have both Paige and Alyssa Van Lanen, Paige Pierce that is, and Alyssa Van Lanen. They're going to join me, I think, literally any minute now. And then I think we're dialing into Croatia and going to have a conversation with some friends over in Croatia because there was kind of a new announcement that was made about a really cool upcoming disc golf adventure. So we're going to get that talked about. And then Paige is actually going to go call it a night because she's got golf to play early in the morning. And then we'll get on with the other parts of the show. How's that sound, Johnny?
Sure. I'm going to need some Skype information. I'm going to need, we're going to have to hopefully set up a shot or two or something. I don't know. We'll get it figured out.
One way or another. So why don't we start with, until they arrive, why don't we start with a little bit of, and maybe we'll get some FPO insight from her, but what we saw on the MPO side with the feature card today, Johnny.
Which featured card, Terry? The live featured card?
The feature card that we had. How about that?
We saw what I felt was some really boring golf in the front half of that course. It didn't feel like there was a lot of energy. It didn't feel like our players were really dialed in, so to speak. We saw MJ just with a couple bad breaks and some missed putts. Eagle going out of bounds quite a bit. It just didn't feel that there wasn't, I think Dixon even brought it up, there wasn't a world championship feel to this first day. It felt more casual. Now, thankfully, our card picked it up on the back 9 where a lot of the birdies are to be had and ended up finishing pretty solid, to be honest. But, man, that front 9 was getting a little rough at times, I felt. And it wasn't until MJ threw in that forehand putt on, was it 11 or 12, that the card seemed to it breathed a little life into the card, it almost felt like. And then the birdie started coming.
Yeah, and what was interesting is they didn't play bad. They didn't play poorly. And Robert really, I think, hit the nail on the head when he just talked about, the clubhouse leader was 12 under when the round started. So that was kind of like where everyone was setting their sights. That's where we were thinking, would anyone challenge that? How close would they get to that? So when we were seeing our players shoot 4, 5, 6 under, in that neighborhood ultimately, which is what they got to, it just didn't feel like it was there. The excitement wasn't there because they weren't pushing. They weren't even really coming close to those, leading scores that were already in. So, and I can't say it enough. Of course, that's not to disparage any of their efforts, as they all shot, 1,000+ rated golf. So it's not, again, they didn't play bad. They just weren't, chasing down that lead or hunting it down. And maybe that's a very unrealistic expectation that we're just going to assume, hey, these 4 guys on camera are going to go out and challenge our leader for sure. But that's certainly how it felt like the day kind of unfolded when it was all said and done.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, that's just, you're right. It just happens to be that you can't force good play or great play, so to speak. You just have to give what we're taking, especially on this lead card, this first day featured card for us. So it was interesting, and we saw. It felt like everybody was chasing Emerson Keith, who just came out of the gates shooting really well, putting himself at, I think, was it 12 under par?
12 under par, yep.
Yeah,
yep. He had the single bogey on hole 5. And dare I say, his only less than stellar stretch on the day were holes 4, 5, and 6, where he went par, bogey, par. And then the rest of his scorecard and the rest of his round was just truly lights out. It was a very impressive round. Kevin Jones, in that same territory, Kevin had at one point a 4-hole par stretch, and 3 of those holes were the same that we saw from Emerson. So Kevin parred holes 3, 4, 5, and 6, and ultimately 9 and 10. But he went on and got an eagle on hole 14, as we were talking about a little bit during the broadcast. Had a really good, clean round. And I believe Kevin, the only competitor in the entire tournament today that went bogey-free. And Robert talked about it. Josh Anthon talked about it when I was with him the other day. I think a lot of us can talk about staying in bounds on this course in itself is a feat. Even if you went out and shot 4 over, but somehow didn't throw out of bounds at any point, like staying in bounds for the entire duration of the round is certainly something to hang your hat on right off the bat. So,
it certainly is, and he like you had said, 4, 5, and 6 were kind of a rough stretch by shooting pars, but he ended up throwing in an eagle from like 370 feet or 386 feet or something along those lines on hole 14 to pick up a stroke. Probably, I think, as you had said on the podcast or on the broadcast, most certainly the only 2 that hole has probably ever seen, and maybe will ever see in featured golf.
Yeah, and I'm sure you were going to see that clip and a number of others that will come through. Central Coast, I believe, was on that card, and so look for that tomorrow from Central Coast, and maybe they'll even release a separate clip with that just in itself, because it was such a great shot. So super excited to see all the footage. A lot of people are clamoring about who was being filmed, and even the uproar of, oh my gosh, there's nobody filming Ricky right now, or why aren't we filming Macbeth? And it's like, simmer down.
It's all getting taken care of.
All of those people that, almost everyone that you expect to be covered was probably covered today. Whether or not they performed, that's another story. But if you expect them to be covered, they probably were. So, and then rounding out our top 4, as we were just talking a little bit about the scores, James Conrad had plenty of birdies out there. He had 12 birdies himself with 2 bogeys. And then Paul Macbeth, in identical fashion, 12 birdies and 2 bogeys. And in fact, interestingly enough, they both, one of the birdies they shared in hole number 3, the shortest hole on the course, or second shortest hole on the course.
They both bogeyed.
No. Yeah, that is in fact this shortest hole on the course. Both of them bogeyed it. And I know earlier in the round I was looking and I saw that Josh Anthon had a 5 on it. So albeit short, there's quite a few trees, and it's very easy to kick out of bounds. So, who would have ever guessed? Like, oh, hole 3, that's the one that's going to bite you. The 260-footer that's dead straight with a little bit of OB.
Well, there was a lot of rumblings towards the end of the round when we saw Paul Macbeth rattle off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 birdies in a row, going into hole 17 and 18, which are primed to be taken for birdies, both of them. And then Paul, unfortunately, comes up short on 17. and splashes into the water. And then 18 just comes up and gets an regular par, nothing to scoff at for sure, and really kind of put the cooling jets on him a little bit, that he wasn't going to get to that Emerson Keith or even exceed it, which we possibly thought of by the time he was coming around to 17. So we saw Paul Macbeth. Chris Clemens in 5th place. He was one of the early rounds, and for a long time he was the leader. I was thinking as we were starting, I wonder if this Clemens is going to like hold up and get him on the leader card, but unfortunately he was just nudged out by the 4 guys we talked about. Philo, Austin, Anthony Barella, Steve Rico, and I feel like tied for 9th is like the old school class. You got Rico, Prinster, Oram, Sexton, Vichy. So
yeah, I mean, as you just named, maybe not as much Dana as although we love the guy. Yeah, you just mentioned kind of those were so many of our contenders that you were thinking of when you and I were regularly attending Worlds and playing, 10 years ago or more. Those were all of the people that you were saying, oh yeah, they're going to finish in the top 10. Rico, Brinster, and Oram specifically, and then you could almost throw a Sexton in there as he was coming up through the ranks. But those 3 in particular, you would bet on every year to finish somewhere in the top 10. So awesome to see him here in the top 10 after day number 1. Of course, we're going to talk a little bit about the FPO side. I think we're going to have Paige, who I kind of expect to walk in any moment. Once we get her here, we'll talk about Croatia and what they have going on, and then I'd like to catch up with her a little bit. And as I'll ask her, or we can maybe discuss, certainly an unexpected start for her. It was a little bit of a roller coaster we saw. I think she went, bogey, birdie, bogey, birdie, bogey, birdie, bogey, birdie, or something like that. She had quite a few of them in there, and then, finds herself back on the 3rd card with some real work to do. And Evelina, well, she's living her best World's life right now. I saw her up there as part of the Ice Cream Sunday, and so she's partaking. And I'd be living it up too if I shot a 10-25 rated round.
I don't care if I was the first person off the course. If I went an hour before everybody else, if my name ever says number 1 next to World Championship, I don't care if I ace the first hole at Worlds and I have to snapshot it on UDisc if they have me at that one spot. I'd be living my best life. But Evelina drops like a 10-25 or so rated round. Just really walking through that course, which is not a course to walk through by any means. Then we have Katrina Allen at 1 under, tied with Valerie Manuhando at 1 under. Erica Stinchcombe at 1 under. Those are the featured card. Or not even featured anymore. That's the lead card we will see tomorrow morning when the FPO tee off. 5th place tie with Rebecca Cox and Paige Bjorkis currently at even with Kristen Tatar and Sarah Gilpin. Paige Pierce, as you mentioned, is at 1 over in 9th. And one of the minor stories I'm hearing about is a tie for 10th where you have Sarah Hokum, Jessica Weiss, Callie McMoran, and Haley King. But there's a little bit of drama behind the Sarah Hokum 2 overs. She got penalized 2 strokes today.
Yeah, so it sounds as if at some point during the round, and I forget what hole, I feel like it was near the old hole 10. I don't know all of Northwood's new hole configurations, but at some point, I don't know if she directly asked or...
I don't believe... I don't know if she asked. She saw a competitor of hers slip and fall on the tee, and the tee was pretty slick and muddy, and just it's in the shade, and it just seems like it's a slick tee. And so she took it upon herself, I believe, to tee off from behind. And I don't think she didn't say anything about asking. I think she just did it, and it came down to where that was not designated as a tee that you can tee off from the side or the back, as we see sometimes, depending on certain specific locations. Now, that's probably going to change in the next day or two, is my guess. There's going to be an addendum put out there if this tee is that bad. But at the time of her doing it, that was not a legal stance. So she is penalized 2 strokes.
Correct. And I've just reached out to her. think I saw her briefly out at the Fly Mart. I'm still in the basement over here at Sunset Hills at the golf club, and just outside is where the Fly Mart is taking place. And I sent her a message. I know she's working her table and booth and such at the Fly Mart. I'm not sure if that ends at 9 or 10, but I have sent her a message. Maybe she'll stop in and can discuss it. Of course, I don't want to speculate too much, but the long and short of it that we had heard is that she teed from behind the tee, off of the tee pad for her safety and for what she thought was the best possible option. And then, as you mentioned, it was found out that that was not an option. I unfortunately, I feel like she just assumed that, well, I can always go behind on the tee, and you can't. And dare I say, and I'd love to get more of her feedback, but it's pretty cut and dry. It's very clear that when a tee pad is provided, especially when you have a cement one, I mean, there's really no question of where the tee starts and where the tee ends. There's a cement tee pad there, and I understand that it was slick, and I understand she was doing it for safety, of course, for her own safety. But when there's a tee pad provided, you have to use it.
Correct.
Unless the tournament directors have stated you can go to the sides or you can go behind. Unless that's stated, and there's a concrete tee, you have to use the concrete tee that's there.
And this is one of those things that actually Paige Pierce is really good about, or at least she has been in the past, laying down a towel, because that is completely legal. You may do that to help with your grip. So putting a towel, a larger towel, or even a hand towel, if you can hit your footing properly at the end of a tee pad to help negate some of that slipping. So that would have been completely legal. Unfortunately, the move that Sarah made was not.
And to follow this up just a little bit more, because it's the topic continues just to blow up on Facebook as we speak. Sarah had made a post a little over an hour ago on her own Facebook page, actually it was almost 2 hours ago, saying, PSA, even if the tee pad is slippery as ice and dangerous to tee from, you are not allowed to tee from behind the tee pad. So she posted that on Facebook, and as one could expect, as we're looking at 166 plus comments, there is a wide variety of everything from, yes, that's correct, you're exactly right, and stating it very matter of fact, to, this is terrible, blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, there's a lot of idiots just saying completely inaccurate stuff that have no idea what they're talking about. And I understand that's how the internet works, but unfortunately...
Everyone can feel sympathy for her, and I understand, and it's one of those things where it's unfortunately, as you and other people have experienced, and it's like when you leave with the scorecard, you walk away. It's the mistake you make one time, and you'll never make it again. You'll know that rule inside and out, but everybody's getting up in arms like, I can't believe that that so and so wouldn't let you do this, or that it's not part of the rule. Just it's not, and you can't, as a TD, it's unfortunate that wasn't noticed, or that wasn't able to be seen ahead of time. It happens. Mistakes are made. We see it every year. There's one little thing at an event or whatever. But if that were the case where you could just, if you felt it was unsafe, you could play behind it, that opens it up to so much gray area for players. Like you could make an excuse that it's too slick for me. I don't feel comfortable. I'm going to step behind the pad and give yourself a better lie. It's just not it's not in the rules, unfortunately.
Yeah, and again, I feel as if I know it's been quoted out there in a number of places. I'm not looking it up at the exact moment, but now I think there is definitely there can be a much bigger argument if we were playing from a natural tee of some sort. Someone could argue whether they really appropriately had 3 meters back from the beginning of the tee and so on and so forth. I think there's, as you kind of mentioned, there could be some more gray area and there could be a little bit more room for interpretation when it's a natural tee or it's maybe of a different surface. But this is a relatively new concrete tee. Maybe they're not new, but it is a concrete tee that is 100% defined. That's where, unfortunately, I feel like the argument No, I'm not disagreeing that it wasn't slick. I'm not disagreeing that she wasn't feeling safe on it. However, there was no provision to say she could do otherwise, so she had to kind of work within the confines of the rule and of the tee that was in front of her. So, and I'm not picking on Sarah, but to me, it is relatively black and white in this specific case. And I'll go a step further and say, well, if you heard one tournament director say this and a caddy book said this, and then the starter said that, and you had conflicting stories, again, you have a different, there's a different situation. But unless it's explicitly stated that there are provisions to that rule, then you have to tee from the teeing service that's provided. So, but if Sarah is out and would like to further either explain or I guess that's the best I could offer, is that she could maybe further explain her position. I would love to hear it. But to me, I feel like the rule at least is black and white. Because as you said, where do you draw the line at when you feel safe?
You can't, unfortunately. It's the same idea of saying there's a lot of people that think that an unsafe lie, it's the same kind of concept where you can't just go where you want because you feel unsafe. So,
well, you get penalized if
correct.
you want to take one. You can take one anytime you want. The thing is, you get penalized.
Yeah. I just lost you, Terry. We lost his audio. I think someone turned off some power on him, and he's back.
Shut down the whole show. Paige and Alyssa walk in, and the whole show shut down. Lights, fans, cameras, action, all of it shut down. I need to press the button on the back of my monitor, which Ryan, my buddy, is going to do. Maybe the top or the bottom, one of the two. And hopefully we're going to have everything back and running.
You hear me, Terry?
Yeah, okay. Unfortunately, I hear you still.
No,
yep.
Come on now.
All right, now give me just 1 second, and we're going to make this happen where we are.
Right.
All right, I think we can, if we don't break anything else, I think we can welcome in Alyssa and Paige, and all they got to do is maybe just grab any additional chair.
Would you like me to call up our other guest right away?
Yeah, do you have all the information to do so?
I believe I do. Let me just
I've lost you. Oh, there we go.
I'm gonna go to you, Terry, while I take care of that.
Oh, okay. Well, you got to fix our shot here, Johnny. You guys are gonna have to come all the way in.
Okay.
Time to get close.
Yeah, I can't fix a shot. I can't zoom your camera from here, Terry. I'm sorry.
Armrest, maybe? I can just. All right.
Lean back. Lean back. All right. Welcome, everyone. I don't know if you could just maybe punch that out just a little bit, Ryan, and we'll see if we can get a slightly. Don't go too wide angle. Oh, I don't know. They can't see all the good. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Again, joining me, Alyssa, Paige. How you guys doing?
Good.
Actually, let's get you guys one more set of earbuds or earphones, and then you guys could probably hear our guest. 1 second. Carry the show. You can talk or something.
Okay, we got it.
How
about these?
Yeah, you can put those on. So cool.
Johnny V.
Hey, how's it going, Paige?
I'm good. How are you? Where are you?
Where I always am, in the basement in Milwaukee here. Oh, we have...
Whoa!
We do have another guest. If you just hold... The other people can't see them quite yet, so we're going to get them on screen. Right now they're just seeing one of our guests. So let me arrange that now. It's a little weird having a couple different Skype set up here. So let me just grab. Let's see here. If it pops up.
Missed them.
We haven't seen them since we were there.
All right. You guys hear me?
Yep. Hold on 1 second, Terry. I'm bringing in the other group that we have here. Let's bring in...
All right. Looks like we're just about ready. I see Johnny V. I'm not sure which screen we're looking at these days, but I think Johnny V's almost got it set up. You good to go here, Johnny?
Give me 1 second. We're almost there.
All right. I don't know if they can see us, but everything looks really good coming in from Croatia, and we'll be with them in just a moment as Johnny's adjusting something.
Here, I'm going to put them on audio so you guys can talk back and forth, and I'll work on getting them on the video.
We can hear them already.
Yep. Yeah, nobody else can, though. Now everybody can.
Oh, okay.
That's enough.
All right, and just like that, I'm going to step aside here almost for a moment. I've got Alyssa and Paige. You guys have some guests. So wait, you're coming on to my show, and then you're bringing your own guests. What's going on?
Yeah.
Who do we have, and what's going on?
Well,
ladies?
first of all, I just bombarded Terry and it's like, I'm coming on SmashBox because we got an announcement to make. And how can we do it to where we can have Dinko and Maya join us? And you said we would love to make it happen.
I'm pretty sure that everybody's seeing them, right, Johnny? You've got everybody in the shot?
Working on it.
Okay, so sorry. Looks like Johnny, they can hear us and we can hear them, but Johnny's working on getting everybody here ultimately in the same shot.
There they are.
We're going to make this happen one way or another.
This is a first, SmashBox first.
There we go.
This is a little different setup because I'm remote, they're remote, and Johnny, yeah.
Yeah,
so
cool.
Johnny will make it happen.
All right, so now everybody's seeing everybody.
Sees everybody? Okay.
We do.
See you.
Sorry for the difficult request, Terry.
No, well,
Johnny, you're killing it.
Thanks.
All right. So again, ladies, who do we have and what's going on?
Well, this is Dinko and Maya. They
Hello.
are our friends from Croatia who we haven't seen in almost a year now. So this is exciting.
And what time is it there, guys?
4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, so thank you so much for setting an alarm. I know you're going on vacation tomorrow, Maya, but we have exciting news for you guys. So we just wanted to kind of, let you guys know what's going on and what the occasion is. So if you guys remember, we went on a disc golf tourist trip last year to Croatia. And for 9 days, we traveled around the country and invited people on a road trip with us through the country. And Dinko and Maya are the ones that spearheaded it and basically did everything logistical to do with it, picking us up at the airport, planning all the dinners and everything in between. So we kind of wanted to have them on as well so that you could see them, get to know them, and also they could kind of give more information because we are doing it again this year. December 6th, we are going on another disc golf tourist trip in Croatia, but we're going to go to 4 different capital cities this year. So it's going to be a different trip, and we're super excited about it. And we just finalized it like 2-3 days ago. So this is kind of the first time we're talking about it.
Wow, awesome. So Dinko, Maya, you guys have helped organize all of this and you're putting all the pieces together. What is it about organizing trips that you guys enjoy so much about it? What are some of the things that you're thinking of when you're trying to put together trips for disc golfers and for non-disc golfers alike?
Well, we love to do it. It's just like that. We do organizing all the time for our main job, organizing events and stuff like that. And organizing trips is more fun than that, right? Because you get to see beauties of the country. You get to have some fun in it. Good food we try to always put in.
Lots of good food.
We realized a few years ago that there are most tournaments are just tournaments, and that we want tournaments that are kind of events that include more side events and more other things, more socializing. So we started doing something like that, something different, and now it turned out to be a disc golf tourist trip again.
Yeah, and we look forward.
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, and not to sidestep it, but it sounds like you guys have also organized a very similar outing and event that me and a couple other guys from the U.S. are coming to, and some people from all around the world. We're going to be doing something similar in October, the end of October into November, and then you guys are doing yet more, as you guys take the trip. Do you guys ever get sick of traveling and showing off all these amazing places?
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, first in Drava Forester is what you are joining, Terry.
Okay.
And that's in Varaždin, in our hometown. But with girls, we will visit more places. We will visit 4 capitals, and we will stay in one other place at the spa resort, so people can enjoy some swimming pools, and there will be also one tournament, PDGA. And then we plan to travel to see Budapest, Vienna, Ljubljana, and Zagreb, Croatian capital. So that's the plan.
Now, I can ask all of you, disc golf is a small portion of this overall trip, right? I mean, it's so much about the sightseeing and the food and the socializing, and it's like disc golf is there and it's part of it, but it's 10%, 20%?
Well, I was going to say that really the actual disc golf is maybe, I don't know, 20% of it, but a lot of the conversations that we're having, we were in a bus last time traveling together, and there were constant questions, and like the disc golf part of it kind of stems throughout, you know?
But also this year it's going to be a little bit different. So on the first day that we arrive, we're just kind of getting to know the group, and we might have some repeat guests from last year, but you know, we're opening it up for everybody, so it's, you know, we want to get to know everybody. But the second day, is this correct? We're doing the tournament. So so the second day we're doing a tournament, and then later in the trip we're having just free time every morning for disc golf. So, you know, we can go out and play casual rounds as well. But there's also a clinic, so you can learn some stuff. You can play a tournament in you know, Croatia, and the hotel that we're staying at is right next to the course that the European Championships was at, where Simon and Seppo battled out. So I'm sure you guys have seen that video, and the course is awesome. And so like Alyssa said, you know, it's not like fully focused on disc golf, but also obviously that's the passion we all share.
That's the tie we all have together.
Yeah, so like it comes up in conversation a lot, or, you know, we're just kind of like hanging out as friends, and, you know, we just start talking about disc golf, and you know, this year we're scheduling a little bit more time for like casual rounds around their beautiful country. So it's not the full focus, of course, because, you know, if we were just going to disc golf, why would we go to Croatia? You know, we're going to see their country, and this year we're going to 4 different capital cities. So we're super excited about it, and we wanted to kind of mix it up so that we could see all different types of, you know, terrain and just parts of the world that we haven't seen before.
Right, because all of it's new for us too, all the places we're going.
Yeah. So like the disc golf cruise, you know, they're all getting on this cruise ship and playing a tournament, but then they're just hanging out with this common interest of disc golf. But for us, this is already how we travel in a van throughout the country. So it's cool that, you know, they could just hop in a van with us, and Dinko and Maya already have all the itinerary made. So, you know, you just get there and everything's taken care of, and we're just going to road trip together and play some disc golf and eat some incredible food.
All right, so guys, if I'm not patient enough to wait for some amazing videos and photos from these two, how would you explain or describe you know, the disc golf culture and the scene around there? If somebody were to, you know, take a plane and land and visit you guys tomorrow, like what's the scene of disc golf right now over there?
Oh, the scene is very small. The scene in Croatia is like 40, 50 players, and we have 3.5 permanent courses. So you will have a problem to find players on the course, but you will not have a problem to find events. So like a few years ago, we were leading in the world on the amount of tournaments compared to the number of PDGA members. We have like 15 tournaments and maybe 12 players, like some 5 years ago. So it's a little bit more players at the moment, but it's still kind of not so many players, but we are quite a good community, socializing a lot, spending time together quite often. So
we have people arriving from all parts of the world. Also, when they are going for a vacation to Croatia, always they find us, and we are always willing to play around. For the tournaments, you know, we have like people from 15 countries already registered for the November one. So it's quite a number of people and events, but still not so many players. But will be, of course. That's the start.
Well, and clearly you guys are doing something right if you're seeing that much representation come from all around the world and different parts of Europe and beyond to come and have this experience. Being able to do disc golf as an underlying theme, but then also have all these social activities sounds like so much fun. I know I'm looking forward to it. What kind of inspires you guys when it comes to any of the social activities, either with them or for your other event? What inspires the social activities?
Yeah, it's you do what you would like to, what you like to find fun, you know, like we organize things that we enjoy and we believe people have to enjoy it. And usually that, yeah, that works. And it's different than usual tournaments that we are attending because, well, I mostly play, I love disc golf because of the community and the people I meet there. I mean, I love the sport itself, but I'm not like professional or something. So I always am missing this social part if I'm going to some tournament and everybody comes to the tournament and there's just walk away. And that's why we kind of have idea to do it differently. And looks like everybody's enjoying it. So it works.
And we also hope some other will pick up, so we'll be able to go
true.
somewhere else and enjoy similar kind of event.
Yeah, I
It's
think
happening in some parts of the world, but we hope to more.
most of our favorite events are the ones that have all those inclusive activities, you know, so it's cool that we haven't been to the Drava Forester yet, but we kind of experienced what you guys have to offer through this disc golf tourist trip. So it's cool to see like how you guys take the other activities as, you know, very important, and it brings everyone together. I think like we were talking about, and we're editing the video, and it's probably
It's like 75%.
it's pretty
done.
close,
We're
but
getting there.
Worlds just started, so now she's editing a bunch of photos. But yeah, like we were just talking about how the very first night we didn't know anybody, of course, and 13 strangers were from like Hungary and Slovenia and Croatia and US and Germany and England. And you know, on the very first night it was like we knew each other for years, just like laughing, and there were, you know, shoes came off and just all kinds of weird stuff that, you know, the itinerary is so jam-packed, and we have so many amazing activities that you guys offer, but also just like the things that you can't plan for that that were just like the best parts of the trip, I think. So
and it's of course easier when you have people like yourself that are willing to do all the fun. So that's way better. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about a couple of adventurous types, I think you've hit the nail right on the head with these two that will probably go anywhere, try anything, and be part of any activity, right? What would you guys say? Well, okay, within reason here. We're only rated R here. No, so what would you guys say you're most looking forward to on this trip, and how do you think it'll differ from the last time you visited with them? Is it the amount of cities? Is it just that they're new places? Are they going to have wilder or crazy games for you to play? What do you think will be a little different or more unique on this trip?
I think there'll be a little bit more like free downtime because we're staying in the same spot this time. So last time we had an itinerary that brought us from A to B to C to D, and this time we have one central location, that's that spa resort, and then we're going out for day trips to all these other places. So there'll be more time, I think, to just be like chill and do what you want, and yeah, a little more free time and play disc golf on the course there.
Yeah, and I think, Maya, last time when we talked to you guys after you guys got back last time, I thought you had said, you know, there's, of course, an itinerary planned out, but if somebody just wants to relax and not be a part of activity, they can be like, oh, I'm just going to stay back, or me and my friends are going to stay back, and we're going to do our own thing for the morning or the afternoon or whatever. So it's it sounds like a great itinerary, but plenty of flexibility.
Yeah, it's up to them. I mean, they're paying the price for the whole trip, so if it was me, I'm going to go to all the activities and get my money's worth, you know, but they can totally just go ahead and, you know, if they want to sleep in the morning and just meet us in the afternoon or whatever, you absolutely can do that, you know. So, yeah, it's nice that if you want someone to plan, you know, if you're the type of person that wants to go on a vacation and you want to just have everything included, this is perfect. But also, if you want to kind of do your own thing, you also have that option.
All right, so I'm going to ask a few details in terms of signups, the availability. I'm sure it's going to be relatively limited and the spots may go very quickly. What are some of the details about the event? Arrival dates, departure dates, those types of things?
So all the info can be found on discgolftourist.com. So it's a website we set up just today, shortly for this purpose. It's forwarding to other website, but you can to easily Google it out and find it, discgolftourist.com. So the arrival is on December 6th. The program is 7 days long, 7 nights in a hotel. So I think departure is on 13. But those who want can stay for a few more days. We have some additional extra charge program
For weekend.
for the next weekend, and possibly one more tournament, one more city, and some other things to do. And for $950, you get 7 nights in a 4-star hotel. You get 1 PDGA C-tier, 2-day, 2 rounds. And you get 4 daily trips to 4 European capitals.
And a clinic with Paige.
And a clinic with Paige.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. And I'm also reading a few of the details I just found on discgolftourist.com, which, like you said, forwards over to your site. Everything you just mentioned, and it also talks about group team dinner, tour guides. All the programming is all taken care of, as you guys were talking about. And some of the basic transportation, to get around, like you just mentioned, going to the 4 cities, and having a bus ride and all of that stuff, all taken care of as well. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What we didn't mention earlier is that this is already the Christmas spirit time of the year. So all these 4 capitals will be lit up in thousands of candles, Christmas trees, and everything will be up. So it's going to be a special feeling for everybody who comes to see.
Christmas markets are very popular in those big cities. So that's Christmas spirit is all around. Girls knows because they saw it last year.
I think that's probably my favorite part of the trip was like the Advent atmosphere is what you call it. Yes. Our city, like if you think of, I guess Chicago is probably the closest big city to us. Like if you think of a big city in the United States, it's just like nothing but traffic and honking and cars everywhere. And, these cities that we're going to are, it's not really cars at all. You're just walking around the streets with, Christmas decorations everywhere and all these, I would say the best thing I could compare it to is like a food truck, but it's not on wheels. It's like, a little like stand that has like all this like Croatian food and
mulled wine
and hot chocolate and just everything hot and warm and delicious that you would want. And they're everywhere, and just music playing and the lights everywhere and just ice skating everywhere. But yeah, it's just really festive and it's really cool to experience. It's nothing like anything we have in the States, I would say.
Wow. All right. Well, it sounds like she sold us on it.
I'm sold. I'm ready.
Dare I ask, what can you guys add to that in terms of getting people interested? What will be the ultimate capacity that you guys will be able to host for the people, the amount of people?
Well, we think 30 is the maximum number we would go for this year, because then we can get a smaller bus and we can plan all the trips. It's easier and it's better. People get to know each other more, and like we could go with 50, but it might be just too much for this occasion.
Yeah, and then you have to skip some restaurants which are more like smaller and nice,
Cozy.
and we like that. So like last year we went to really some smaller ones that were not that tourist as some big ones would be, right?
Yeah, that was awesome. I loved all the restaurants we went to, how it was like such a family feel. And like you would never, in America we use Yelp, and we would never ever find those restaurants, and that's part of what you guys do also. So it's awesome that you guys are heading it up, and we would never find these restaurants even, and they're just like super traditional Croatian meals. So I'm excited to see what you guys have planned this year.
Sounds like a lot of pressure. So I guess I'll ask it for both you guys and for these guys in a slightly different angle. With the World Championships starting here today, as these guys were out there and we were broadcasting and everything else today. 14 countries represented here at the Worlds. Do you guys have people that you know that are here from anywhere over in Europe? I mean, do you have anyone in particular that you guys are following along or watching, outside from all maybe the U.S. players that you've, come to know or visit, but do you have other people from anywhere over there that you're going to keep your eye on this week?
Of course we do.
Simon.
And Paige.
But Europeans, Simon was here. He's a friend, so we are rooting for him. And
Philo, right behind you.
Yep.
Yeah, Paige Beers. Don't you see?
We also, I know Philo has visited you guys and has hung out with you guys.
Yep.
Of course, we saw him in Thailand as well, but Philo had a pretty good opening day here today. And then, we'll talk about it maybe a little bit more later, but we also see someone from not in America, a non-U.S. FPO has currently had the hot round here today with Evelina going out and shooting a pretty solid score to open the day. So I'll ask you guys, when you're going over there for this type of an event, you were there one other time, what do you feel like is the makeup in terms of nationality? Is there a lot of Croatians, or is there people just literally from all over? I mean, how many different countries are represented at one of your normal gatherings?
I mean, last year we had 2 C tiers, and like kind of what Dinko was just talking about, like not too many Croatians, but people from Austria and Slovenia and
nearby countries.
Yeah, just all coming in just to play these tournaments. And Dinko, sorry, I have to ask, what's the award that you won? What's the actual title of it?
PDGA Europe Volunteer of the Year, 208.
Yeah, so he just won this obelisk, the obelisks that were just handed out. He won one for his Volunteer of the Year, and just running all these tournaments. And even though he's talking about only 12 people, maybe in Croatia, like he's getting people from all these countries to come, and Maya as well running the Drava Forester. This is a huge tournament, and obviously they know what they're doing and can draw a crowd, and they know how to get a party started.
Uh-oh. Any guess? How many different countries do you think will be coming there represented when it's all said and done? How many different countries do you think you'll have at this event in December?
Well, you never know, but it should be 10 for sure. Usually, whatever we organize, it's like 10 countries we do have. Last year it was 7?
7 or 8 countries was last year, so
so something like that. For sure.
All right. Well, I'm going to throw myself under the bus and say, I was just going to say that I was so comforted when I went to Finland a few weeks ago for my first time. And also I had the pleasure of going to Australia and a few other places this year. And every time I go somewhere, I feel like the idiot because I only know one language. But when we go there, and anyone from the U.S., is it expected that you'd be comfortable? Everyone else knows English, and for the most part, because everybody's smarter than us.
I would say so. Everyone communicated well. They taught us some Croatian. We learned some. She knows German already. We're meeting people in the streets who knows where they're from, and just kind of having those conversations. I think it also helps you grow as a person, just to learn to communicate. And they're there to also help us what's it called, translate. Yep. But it's kind of fun just to try to do it on your own, and to try to have these conversations with people around the world that you may never meet and have conversations with. So I think if you're scared about not understanding, you will be fine. But also, it's a good challenge.
It's like international charades sometimes. When you're
sometimes, yeah.
Figure it out.
But also, we're doing that right now here in Peoria with Evelina and Henna. Yep. I mean, I'm giving them rides to the course, and on the way to the course, I had to describe to them what the word hollow meant. And that was very difficult. Actually, did I tell you that?
No.
It was very difficult.
I was asking them about humidity, and just trying to explain, just the concept of humidity. And obviously, I'm sure they know what it means in their own way. But with how
Yeah.
sticky and humid it's been around here the last few days. That was a barrier that we
Yeah.
had when we were talking about it.
You just did it with charades, or what
Yeah,
did
exactly.
you do?
Is there anything else you guys want to share with us before we let you guys go?
Oh, we'll just mention Katka Bodova in the FPO.
Yep.
She's a real good player. She's been on our tournaments for several years, so we should not skip her name.
Yeah, we are rooting for Katka too.
And Richard. And you're rooting for Richard too, right?
Is he playing?
I don't know.
I think he is actually.
he's
Yeah.
gotta be.
Of course.
Yeah. Yes, I've seen them. They traveled to the U.S. a few years ago and looked me up, and they came to Milwaukee. They were visiting,
Cool.
and I went and had dinner with them one night in Milwaukee, and
Cool.
we, really kind of bonded. And now I'm seeing them all around the world as well. It's
That's awesome.
all of these little these meetups and these opportunities. Maya, I met you in Thailand after these two talked you up, and how great their experience was in Croatia. And then we have friends from Australia and the U.S., and then we all go to Thailand and meet you and have an awesome time. It's becoming. I see why you guys are so hooked on it, as I'm just getting introduced to more disc golf international travel. It's so much fun.
We could talk about it for ages, but it's something that you kind of have to experience. And we have a video coming out within the next 10
Right
days,
after Worlds.
5 days. That you guys.
Video for months.
Yeah, you'll see for yourself. It's an experience that you don't want to miss out on. So I'm just excited for myself, selfishly, that we get to do it again. So thank you guys for organizing everything, and thanks for waking up at 4 a.m. to do this.
No
Y'all are so
problem.
nice.
No big deal. All right, we're gonna let you guys go. Thank you so much. I know me and my crew, Johnny Rumble, Gary to the O, and maybe a few others. I talked to Jeff Hungerford the other day. We're all talking about coming. Well, we're all talking about coming and visiting you guys in October, and we're looking forward to it. And then these guys will be there. Everybody's just gonna be everywhere. It's awesome.
We'll be there.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. And if you have any more information that we can help push out to the world, we will gladly do so.
Ciao, Buck.
Thank
Okay.
you, guys. Bye.
All right. See you. Good night.
Bye.
Bye. All right, Johnny. You got
Johnny's asleep.
Johnny V's got to press a button, maybe, if he's still awake.
I'm here. I'm just trying to figure out how to hang up on one person and not everybody.
We'll make it work. Even if Johnny hangs up on us, you can call us back.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
All right. There we go. Hey, welcome back.
Hello.
Everyone. All right. What else you guys got for us? I mean, that's pretty exciting for starters.
really
yeah,
exciting.
I'm super excited. I'm really excited about it. It's I don't know. I feel like I always wanted to go on the disc golf cruise, and so this is kind of like our way to
Our
do
own
it.
version.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's kind of nice to like be in a van together and drive down the road to these. We're only traveling like 2 to 3 hours tops to get to these capital cities, but still, it's like a couple hours in a car where there's nowhere to escape to. A lot of people get shy in certain situations and they want to walk away, but like you're in this car and it forces you to have conversations that you wouldn't have, and also like allows people to just kind of get to know us better, and lots of time for sing-alongs in the car, and
Oh yeah, we like to sing in the car.
Ukuleles. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's all sorts of.
yeah. At one point
Probably.
there was a couple people that brought their own car and they were right behind us, so we downloaded this like walkie-talkie app.
Yep.
And we're just like making jokes back and forth on the walkie-talkie. So it's really cool experience, and I think something that we don't quite get to do the whole year. So it's really cool to experience it with a bunch of people we've never met before, and just build more relationships in disc golf.
Well, and what I love about it is, especially as you guys have done this now 2 years in December, it's disc golf has the underlying theme to it, as you guys have talked about, but it's a little bit of the slower season. It's, call it a vacation, call it whatever you want, but being able to go have that experience and just kind of unwind, a little bit. I mean, I know you guys are both exhausted after a year of hustling all around the country and hustling to all these other places to play. So having that disc golf connecting theme is awesome, but it's definitely a little more low key than that. And,
Right.
And so much more, I don't know, hopefully fulfilling in just a totally different way than just karting the hot round on the course. So
A little bit of balance.
exactly, that's the best way to put it for sure.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
Is that?
Can they see
Oh
that?
no, I don't think they can. There's like a party going on our screen
looks
where
like a
everything
rave.
is like. I think that's an HDMI cord issue. Well, just ignore that.
We need a little beat bumping.
If you guys only could see what we're seeing right now, it looks pretty funny on our screen. Anyway, so just real quick, because you're here today, looks like you had a little bit of a roller coaster. Is that a fair way to put it, or just things didn't
Yeah.
click, or?
Yeah, I couldn't like find my flow really.
Uh-huh.
So tomorrow, looking to kind of try to channel that. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm only 2 strokes off second, and it's one round in. This is a marathon, and I love that about Worlds is that, you know, you could get super excited after a good round, or you could get super bummed after a bad round. But really, the people that stay mentally strong and confident and, you know, determined are gonna prevail. So I'm excited to see how the rest of the week goes. And yeah.
And tomorrow you come back to Sunset.
Yes.
Come over to Sunset, I think back as in you were here in
yes,
Ledgestone.
currently.
But you come here to Sunset. Of course, you're a little bit more familiar with, just in terms of you've played it a number of times. Any thoughts about when you come here, you know, whether it's your lines or your putts or angles or previous experiences, anything that comes to mind when you think about coming back here to Sunset?
This course I'll have more opportunities on, just simply because there's less trees. So at Northwood, you can be off your line by this much and you have no chance at a birdie. You know, you can still save par, but the birdie's gone. And out here, you miss your line by this much and you're only 40 feet away instead of 20 feet away. So 40 footers are still makeable. So, you know, it's just more opportunities. And I feel good about my putt. So circle 2 is not a scary thought to me. So even if I miss my line, I still have a circle 2 putt, and I think it's going to be a putting round tomorrow. So I'm excited.
Good. Awesome. Alyssa, I know you work just as hard or harder than any of our golfers out there on the course. I know
I was
that.
editing on the way here, the drive over.
Yeah, the editing, but then also, you know, just trying to get around the course, to get all the different shots, to get, you know, various angles, to get all the right people that you're trying to get. I don't know if there's right or wrong, but trying to get all the particular people you're trying to get. How did today go for you?
Today, this place is very difficult because of the driving.
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
So instead of everything being on the same course and I'm watching the women, shooting the women in the morning, and then I just bust over to the men, there's a 30-minute drive from everywhere. So that cuts into a lot of time, but also that gives me a little bit of time to actually relax. I ate lunch today for once, which was really nice. Recharged my batteries. It went really
Literally,
well.
and
yeah, and figuratively.
Yes, in both ways.
Yep.
But no, it was really good. And everything, I got everyone on my list. Emerson stuck around and took some shots with me. And sometimes it takes forcing players to come back to the course.
Oh, I'm sure. But I mean, when you're big time and you shoot that hot round like you did and finds himself in the lead at Worlds.
Yeah, that was super exciting. That's
we need to make sure we have all those photo ops. Where can they? Are you working exclusively with the PDGA, or are you posting stuff on your own? Where can people see your work?
I'll still be posting everything on my own on avdiscgolf.com.
avdiscgolf.com. All right. And dare I say, you have stuff up there?
it's uploaded in the car.
Yeah,
later.
I have to still hit send, but yeah, it'll be up within the hour.
Awesome. All right. Anything else you guys want to share before I let you go?
Not that I can think of. Just keep watching tomorrow. If you're in the area, come on out. Actually, if you come watch my card tomorrow, I'll give you a Paige Pierce shirt.
What?
How about that? In person.
I mean, we saw
person.
my up sporting one, so that's just one of the many you have.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe. She actually made that herself. Really. I promise. She made that. Yeah. No, I have some shirts in the car, and I'll bring them out.
All right.
But you have to wear them during the round.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be silly not to.
Of course. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. It's cool to see how many media crews, and I was going to say about that, like, it's hard for her. I could only imagine to, like, try to get everybody she needs to get, because there's so many cards out here, but also like how many media cards there are. It's crazy. So thank you for growing Worlds coverage, and yeah, I'm just ready to go to sleep so I can play tomorrow.
Yeah, you have to be here and teeing off in 11 hours and 40 minutes.
Okay, great.
So that puts things in perspective where we're at here tonight. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
I'll
thank
let you go and get some rest, and looking forward to watching the scores tomorrow.
Sounds
We'll
good.
see you shooting up that leaderboard.
Step inside the Smashbox.
She said it.
Thanks,
But we
ladies.
didn't get in.
You
I'm a little
technically stepped
disappointed.
inside the
We're in
Smashbox.
it right now.
You're in it right
I'm
now.
about to
This
step
is like
outside the
All
Smash.
this is where it's at.
We're in the zone, is what we are.
All of
Okay.
it. All right. Thank you, guys.
Terry.
Have a good night. All right. As we said, Alyssa and Paige joining us. Thank you so much. And then getting the international update from Croatia with Maya and Dinko. It was, thank you guys so much. Have a great night. Just awesome that they're helping provide that opportunity, of course, with obviously the host over there in Croatia. You know, I'm very blessed that in a number of years I didn't get the chance to travel internationally. I think I went to Norway in 2013. And if all goes well, in a 12-month span, I think I'm going to visit 6 countries thanks to disc golf. And the experiences I've had over the last 6 or 8 or 9 or 12 months have just been amazing. So when you have an opportunity to go join, you know, a group like them and get stuff on the course and off the course, I think you'd be silly not to do so.
Sounds right.
So sounds quite fitting here. Kind of, I guess I love that it kind of fits into the whole theme of here we are for the World Championships, where we have all these countries represented, and I love that as well.
Yeah, you are right now, I know it's early, but you're slightly in danger of losing the bet you've been talking about for a few years. I feel like, you know, I didn't want to say it when Paige was on, but we have 5 rounds. We're down to 4, and Evelina has a pretty solid lead over everybody. If she extends that at sunset, that's going to be a tough thing to make up. Now, Northwood can treat anybody particularly good or bad, so they do have to play that again, but it is, I would not want to spot Evelina any strokes, much less more than what she already has. So I'm looking forward to the battle. Somebody asked if Paige and Kat can make a comeback, and I said, most certainly they can.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect them to do it in one round, but we have a few to go, and not at sunset. I don't feel like there is the opportunity. I know Paige can score there, but I don't feel like there's the opportunity for her to make up all of those strokes at sunset. I could see it over the next 2 to 3 rounds for certain, though.
Yeah, I would not go as far as saying that it couldn't be made up in one round. We have seen so many swings,
of course, it could be
of large
not as
and
likely.
small scale. And I'm not suggesting it's going to, but if it did, if we sat here tomorrow night during a show that we're not scheduled to have, but if we were sitting here for a show, or maybe I'll have one on my own, and I said, oh, Paige has a 1-stroke lead over Evelina, I also wouldn't be shocked by that either. Like, that's just, I feel like those types of transitions or swings taking place in the FPO field, I just don't think they're that uncommon.
They're not uncommon, but I would be shocked to see that happen in one round at sunset, particularly because of the lack of danger there. There's only a few places to go OB, and
like every hole.
You can go OB every hole, but there are some bad shots you need to make on some of those holes, like bad shots. I know because I went through every single one of those holes for the whole preview, and I was looking for places to put my little out of bounds signs and crap like that, and I'm like, all right, this one, not so much this one. I just don't see Evelina giving up that at sunset. If we see her lose her lead, I am going to go out on a limb and say it would not be until the next round over at Northwood, but just saying. And
all right, somebody mark the tape. I think they still say that. Mark the tape.
Mark the tape. I'm making no predictions.
I'm not claiming either that it's going to happen, but I wouldn't be, I think, nearly as shocked as you. But we shall see. Someone asked or wanted to clarify exactly. First of all, James asked, will I be in Croatia for that trip? I will. I am not planning on being in Croatia for the Christmas trip or the December trip that they're talking about. I'm going to Croatia at the end of October into the first week of November for one of the other events that Maya and her brother are putting on, and it's called the Drava Forester. And that's 3 rounds, but then lots of social interaction. So just a clarification there. And then the other question was, what is the bet that we were just referencing? I was in this very spot, in fact, literally just a few feet above me at Sunset Hills during the Pro Tour stop when we were here for Ledgestone a few years ago. And it was Chris Finn and I, Chris from Australia, from Dude Sports. He had said, we wrote it down on a piece of paper, or on a napkin actually, which we both have photos of, that he said in the next 2 years there would be an international MPO or FPO champion at the World Championships. So we bet $100 on it, all official with a bar napkin, as all good bets and deals are made on. We bet $100 on that. So that was the reference point. And as Johnny V just said, Evelina is trying to make me lose money right now. And you know what? If I lost the bet because a superstar like herself came out and crushed and earned it, like I would happily, because to me that's also a sign that the sport is growing. It's a sign of the international flavor that we have. It's a sign that just everyone is benefiting and growing from our sport. So it would be $100 I would gladly hand over. Maybe he'd at least give me a Dude shirt.
Maybe. Maybe you'll get. Maybe it'll get better for you in the conversion rate. Yeah, the conversion rate. Check the conversion rate on that and see if it's $100 US or $100 Australian dollars. So that's what we saw again on the FPO side. I did want to give a quick update because she graciously replied to me. Excuse me. And when I had reached out to Sarah Holcomb, who was outside for the Flame Art. Oh, you're going to bring this up again? The board just settled down from the talk.
No, all I'm going to say to it is she has politely declined. She's she's going to politely decline in a very polite fashion that she's not interested in necessarily joining us at the moment. So,
oh God, no!
Although she did say, she's like, I'm literally right above you, up at the Sunset Hills bar just above me. But
that's funny. No, I didn't expect her to join. I thought she was going to give like a little statement to you, though.
Either or, but either way. So I just wanted everyone to know that I did extend the offer, and I do not need to rehash any of it. I didn't get a chance to read any of the comments, and frankly, I'm not that much more concerned. I think I've said my piece on it. So, all right, Johnny. So yeah, as we just kind of talked about, sunset tomorrow morning, and I think the biggest takeaway is what everyone here should know, and that's that we're live tomorrow morning for the round, for the FPO round only. And I just may flat out ban the very first person that says, when's the MPO coverage coming?
I'm assuming that's going to be what they call the drinking game tomorrow. Everyone that asks, when are we going to see MPO, or when does MPO tee off? When's MPO live start? And as we've said,
this is great, but where's the MPO? Yeah, no.
We will not have MPO tomorrow. Over and over, there will be no MPO tomorrow because they're at Northwood, where cell signal is not as good as we want, and we don't want to risk putting out a bad show. I mean, I think we could. I've said before, I think we could skate by, but without further testing, none of us trust it. And it rather than put out a really cruddy show where you kind of get some garbage, frustrations, we just decided to say, hey, we'll do what we can. We'll cover what we best can. Thankfully, Nate worked really well with us when planning a lot of the rounds. The PDGA worked with us so that we can provide a good round each day and then both days of the finals. So that is hats off to the PDGA.
Yeah, and so 10 a.m. Central, that was the next question. 10 a.m. Central is when we will be going live, or just a few minutes before it possibly, with probably some form of a PDGA recap video. but 10 a.m. Central is when we go live with the show. And joining me will be Hannah Macbeth. She graciously provided some co-commentary last year. She was great. She was beyond great. She was awesome to have here with me, and I'm really looking forward to her providing her insights and all the research and work that she's already put into it. So super excited to have her tomorrow. And then we'll again have Dixon Jowers out on the course. Today Dixon even had reached out to me and asked, and he's like, I don't know if you have feedback for me. I'm like, no, I know you kind of did the best you could. The play wasn't, stellar, and there just didn't seem to be a lot going on out there. And I think, that's kind of an opening round thing. I think there'll be a lot more stories and things to talk about and to learn about as the week goes on from Dixon. So I'll ask you this then, Johnny, since you and I didn't really have too much of too much time to debrief after the round today. From your perspective, from, let's say, a technical-ish perspective, how do you feel like things went today?
We had a little hiccup with we did ample testing, and as we always do, and we get to the first hole. The first player throws, no big deal. We see the catch come in. The second player throws, we see the catch come in. And then for some reason our catch camera dies. And it just won't connect. It won't connect. It turns out that we eventually find out after a lot of different things that it is a bad cable. And so we went to get the spare cable. That cable was no good either. So the spare cable that we had was no good. So normally we have 3 cameras. We were down to 2 for almost the entire round. But thankfully we sorted that out. We should have everything taken care of and ready for tomorrow to get our normal 3-camera coverage back. Other than that, I thought it went pretty well. We had Joey and Gio and Ryan all on the cameras, and they thought they all did a pretty darn good job.
Okay. It was, from our perspective in the booth, things seemed to move pretty smoothly over here. Again, thank you to Sunset Hills Golf Club for being gracious host to us. Myself and Robert, not that we should expect any, but from kind of a technical side over here, things seem to go pretty well. I guess that's all I can really say about that. It was a pleasure. It always is. We talk about it all the time, various people commentating with other people, who likes whom, favorite teams, combos, all of that other stuff. I'm always very comfortable, and I love working alongside Robert because he has so much good information and knowledge, and he obviously does the homework. He's kind of taken upon himself, in fact, to go out and get what every player is throwing on almost every single hole. And I think that just adds so much to the broadcast. I really appreciate him going that extra step to do so. And I would like to thank here, certainly I'd like to thank Dynamic Disc for lending him to us. Robert is the team manager, and he has certain roles and responsibilities. He's expected to be performing throughout the week, but in working with Bobby Brown and working with Jeremy Rusko, they are essentially lending him to us and to the broadcast and to the event. So just thank you so much to Dynamic Disc for doing just that.
Correct. They are also a sponsor of the PDGA World Championships. A couple really good sponsors. I mean, obviously we have Infinite Discs, Discraft, Innova, MVP, Zamful, Prodigy. Thank you. I'm trying to rattle off the ones. I made a thank you card. Paragon. There's a few other ones. Zuka. And it takes everybody stepping up to make this a fantastic event. Everyone from the volunteers to the TD Nate puts in countless hours out there. But it's a fun event to be a part of, and I'm really looking forward to showing some really good golf over the next 4 days.
Yeah, and to think that we have just gotten started. Tomorrow we get to show you the FPO's second round. So we have second, third, and fourth round are all going to be individual rounds, so to speak. And then on the final day, of course, giving you FPO in the morning, and then doing our best to hustle over to Eureka to then give you the MPO final round as well. So single rounds all the way up until Saturday, where we give you back-to-back rounds like we've done the last few days. So
I don't think there's going to be a lot tonight in general. It's been a quiet week. Well, as everyone prepared for Worlds, and we have a lot of work to take care of. We have a show to take care of in the morning at 10 a.m., but I think what we'll do is we'll probably bypass the Patreon giveaway this week, and we'll do 2 next week. It always makes it nice and easy when we're here together and we can take care of all of that. So, Terry, I need you to get something cool from Worlds to do our Patreon giveaway for next week.
Okay.
All right, cool.
That should be easy enough. Something I personally picked up that I'm not giving away, not cheap at least.
One of the Macbeth discs.
Yeah, they had released a few discs, and I know there's a few different discs from a few manufacturers that are kind of unfolding throughout the week, but I managed to snag myself one of the super rare Midnight Big Z Zeus's, which I'm going to turn around and make available for someone to purchase outright, and a few of the other Big Z Zeus's that are part of the release that came out today. Just really low numbers of them, and
are there any,
obviously...
Are there any left?
No.
I didn't think so.
I'm not getting you one either.
Well, we'll see.
No, I won't. All right. Do you want an after show? Do you want to go right to the board for a little Q&A and then call it a night? Is that a good way to go about it?
Yeah, I think we can go right to the board for a little Q&A. We'll skip the traditional after show. It's like when your favorite band performs at a really small venue and there's no backstage to go to for them just to come out 3 minutes later. We're just going to skip the whole shut down the show, and we're going to go right into the after show. So here, I can probably even do this. Boop. There we go. It's the after show.
Oh my gosh, after show.
After show.
Worlds after show. Okay, well, so I'm going to read, we're going to do a little bit of reading off of the board. If you've got anything for us, now's a great time to put it up there. We'll try to follow along and see what you got. First thing that jumped out is the dude asked, if we get $1,000 in super chats over the week, can we get Terry to get hair extensions? And the answer is no. I just cut off all my hair a few weeks ago, and then I got a haircut literally 90 minutes before broadcast today. And I know that's like, well, who cares? That's a bold move, because that may not have went well. I'm not saying that it's awesome or perfect, but it could have went really bad. And then I show up to the first day of the broadcast and look dumber. Don't look my best. So, but yes, thank you, Sport Clips, keeping it real. And get this, there was even a discount today. I was like, what?
Of course there was, Terry.
No, it's special to this particular Sports Clips, and I came in on just the right day. That's when I knew we were going to knock the broadcast out of the park, is when I come in and get a discount without even knowing it existed. All right, Ricky, rough start. Someone's asking, what was his score and how rough was his start? I'm going to go, I can't say I've mentioned him. He's tied for 9th, Ricky, and he's 6 under par.
Yeah, Ricky was like 3 over par at one point. And
yeah, Ricky barely parred today.
and then proceeded to rattle off like a dozen straight birdies or something. It was an interesting. Yeah. It was definitely interesting, his round.
He had 9 birdies in the final 12 holes to get him to 6 under. So, excuse me, and he only had 3 pars on the day. He parred 10, 13, and 14. He had three bogeys, a double bogey, and then 11 birdies. So yeah, a little bit of a rough start there, but clearly he turned it around and got things going. So that was good to see for Ricky. Also on the board, real quick, I saw someone just mention Kat a moment ago, but I will say Katrina Allen's birthday today. Happy birthday yet again to her. I wanted to make sure to get that out there and say happy birthday to her. Legit Disc Golf, who's feeling pretty good. 2 of his sponsored players in Kevin Jones and Emerson Keith both will be featured tomorrow. 2 of the nicer guys, or nicest guys, that we see on the tour. So that's awesome to see if you're part of Legit Disc Golf, who supports the disc golf guy, and who has supported Smashbox before, so thank you. He says, you wouldn't show up in a Slash cosplay for $1,000?
A Slash cosplay. So, like, looking like Slash, the guitarist from Guns N' Roses?
That I would do.
Sure.
For $1,000? Oh, yeah. Do you know if there's any coverage of the putting competition? Disc Golf Luke asked. I personally filmed one card that went out. I got done filming some of the distance competition. Then I moved over and was able to film a little bit of the putting competition. And the card that I chose that was standing there ready to go was Greg Barsby, Josh Anthon, and George Smith. And I don't want to put any spoilers out there, but I did film every single putt they had. And they didn't win. So that's what I can say about that. But that's the only putting footage that I got, per se.
Someone asked on the board if we are reading off... Stop tapping. If we are reading off Super Chats on this particular broadcast. We haven't found... Well, not found. We haven't hit a Super Chat amount that we've felt worthwhile of reading off yet. Keep trying, folks. Keep edging that up.
Yeah. Worthwhile is not quite the word I would use, but we're taking a little bit different strategy and approach.
Valid.
We've thanked everyone in a special little thank you that we've run, and I'm trying to thank everyone as they come in, and you guys are always welcome to do it. We just have a kind of a threshold in mind that once that threshold is hit from any given, from one particular person, if they meet a certain threshold, that's when we're going with a more audible Super Chat recognition. And again, we're playing with stuff. We're trying to figure out the right formula, but we felt maybe the last time that we did it, and I know this was extensively talked about on a podcast, but the last time we did it, we felt like maybe it was just too frequent. So we have a threshold in mind.
Correct. But
you can play that game and find out tomorrow.
That's right.
If you wish, and if nobody ever super chatted one more dollar, we would love you all the same. So just know that, and we thank you all.
We appreciate,
and just Baron,
obviously,
earlier here
super
tonight
chat.
did super chat, so thank you. Sam Martin says the way you handled the super chats was greatly appreciated.
Yes, there are.
Makers Telemark asks, is Robert and Terry doing all live MPO commentary? Yes. All live MPO, yes. So Robert's with me on Thursday and Saturday afternoons. Is that right? Yeah, Thursday and Saturday afternoons.
And Hannah Macbeth will be doing all FPO live rounds.
Being Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday mornings. All right, wouldn't it be a good idea to tell us what that threshold is? Maybe. It was kind of a fun game today, watching them come in, which we appreciate everyone, but no one quite got there. So my hint would be today's got close. Sugar Free says, Terry, great Ledgestone vlog. Awesome to see my buddy's leather work on Paul's Mini. Yes, thank you very much. Just before the event, I had released a couple of Ledgestone vlogs that was kind of intentional to kind of remind everyone about the Peoria scene and about Lake Eureka and all the courses here, and that was then leading right into the Worlds. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you didn't, or if you did, I'd like to know what you did or didn't like about them, because that's just kind of a whole nother style of bringing you disc golf coverage, and we're genuinely looking for feedback for it. Discounts and haircuts, not a good thing.
Ray says, Dixon did a great job. Each check-in had good info. He was accurate with his call of it feeling casual on hole 6. Completely agree. And I think tomorrow we have surprisingly, we do have an actual script that we lay out what commercials go when Dixon checks in. And today with one of our cameras kind of going on the fritz, we kind of had to work Dixon in a little more than we would. Not more than we would like. We had to work him in as opposed to having him scheduled in. So ultimately, tomorrow I hope to have just a few more check-ins with him. And I don't want to say like the play today was bad. It just felt slower and more casual. Tomorrow, when we're with the FPO lead card, there will maybe be some different insights from Dixon on what is hopefully going to feel more competitive.
Sure. Yeah, I think so. And And there'll be those newfound pressures of having just that, the lead card, as you said, and what that means and the actual shifts that are happening. Because today everyone's out there setting the pace or we'll just say opening. Tomorrow is going to have a little bit more of that competitive spirit probably to it. So someone is talking about going until dark tomorrow night. I'm not sure what that is. Terry, with MPO teeing at 2:30 tomorrow, the round should go until dark, right? No, not at all. I think things will be just fine. I mean, it doesn't get dark here till 8 or 8:30 at night. So if it goes that long, we're in a lot of trouble. Everybody's in trouble. But no, MPO should be just fine. A lot of people are talking about, I think Jomez released some form of a preview video of sorts for Northwood. I have not seen it, but sounds by everyone's account here, it sounds like they enjoyed it.
I watched the first 3 minutes of it. And then I looked at the time and it was 38 minutes long or something. And I think they literally go through the entire course. They have a pro talk about every single hole, and I kind of went, "Ew, not for me, man."
Yeah,
but it was from what I saw, very well produced. It looked nice, and I think it would give, if you're really interested in how the pros are going to attack Northwood, then it's right up your alley. It is what you want to sit and watch, certainly.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of conversation, of course, no surprise, about the True Disc commercial today that so many people saw. Tyler from Disc Golf Comedy, helping assemble that and being part of that, working with UDisc. And I had dinner tonight with the entire UDisc staff, Matt, Josh, Daniel, and Monica. And, they were kind of genuinely curious because they were, of course, on the course. And they were curious how it was received and so forth. I'm like, oh, yeah, it definitely killed it, as you would expect. It was hilarious.
I saw somebody say it's the best disc golf commercial to come out in years.
For me, it's about the commercials. So, yeah, I'll go with that.
I like the theme of commercials, obviously playing on the humorous. I would say, for me, one of my favorite commercials before this one was originally the black ink discs when it first came out of the dating app for discs.
Correct. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that one, and obviously we played that one out for like a year and a half, and now they've got the most interesting man in the world type style. But this particular UDisc one, it's really well done, and I really do enjoy it.
Cool One, who's a big supporter and always out there, asks, do commercials get paid per each showing? If so, what about when commercials are sometimes clipped, returning to the coverage? Thanks, Johnny and Terry. Well, essentially, when we're setting up anytime, and the Pro Tour to some degree may have different agreements than how we set up because we're more in control of this particular broadcast. We essentially, when we work with any manufacturer, or I should say any advertiser, we will guarantee them X amount of plays throughout a day or throughout a week or a weekend or whatever the case might be. So we usually get those all slotted, and then more often than not, there's going to be an extra a hold up or a backup or some instance where the commercials might get played additional, extra times that weren't slotted for. So we always kind of shoot for a minimum amount of times your commercial will get played, and we already know in the back of our head, well, yes, we're going to hit that mark, but we're more than likely going to play in it. We may guarantee it gets played 3 times, but it might get played 5 or 6 or 8 or whatever, depending on the day and the weekend and the round. So if that kind of answers your question. So they don't pay every time it gets shown per se. We offer essentially a minimum guarantee, and then we make sure that we at least hit that, and hopefully, or not, hopefully we exceed that from time to time. Does that sound believable, Johnny?
That's exactly what we do.
Oh, okay.
Most of the advertisers, I think, this weekend are slotted for 2 per day. So anything above that, I think some of the bigger sponsors, we have agreements that say, oh, if you have a little bit extra filler time, please play these particular sponsors ahead of other ones. But
sure.
But ultimately, that's how the agreement with the event and the PDGA, that's how it all worked out for us. So.
All right. Carver John asks, how many people were watching when Paige was on? I'm guessing it was somewhere in the 180 to 200 neighborhood. I know we've got a few hundred right now, a couple hundred watching, but I believe it was somewhere in that same neighborhood. One thing I do want to talk about quickly, though, is we were almost at 6,000 people today.
On a Tuesday.
We call it a peak concurrent. We were nearly at 6,000 people today. There's been plenty of tournaments that A, don't hit that number at any point for peak concurrent, and B, we would love to see that many, on a final day, a final round. So if that's any indication of how this week is going to continue, we love seeing it. We can't say enough about it, and we thank all of you, but to see nearly 6,000 live viewers during the opening round when there's not a lead card yet established was pretty awesome. So we just have to echo the thanks to all of you, and we hope to see that again tomorrow morning when we go to the FPO side of things.
Yeah, I was really excited to see Vano on our card, just because he is a new, fresh face that we really don't get a chance to see very much of. Greg, obviously the returning champ. Greg tends to be a character, as everybody saw when MJ hit that nice forehand. He turned around into the camera and gave us a nice little smug. And MJ, who's just, everybody seems to love him. I think there was a prop bet on how many times he was going to throw or putt and then just turn around. So, and Eagle is one of our top players in the sport. He is going to be competitive this week, but also for years to come. But to have that many without having arguably some of the biggest draw, like usually our bigger numbers come from clearly Paul, Simon. Right now, KJ actually seems to be pulling in a lot of big numbers. Those really are the names right now that will bring in, without, you could watch them playing pickup sticks, and I think we'd get a couple thousand viewers. Without having those three gentlemen on the card, I was extremely happy with today's results. We were pushing out to a couple different platforms. We pushed out to the PDGA Facebook page. It took a little while to get there. I think there was an issue with the start time as far as Eastern versus Pacific that maybe I didn't check well enough, which is why it started a little later than it probably should have. And I want to say thank you to our 5 Twitch viewers.
We quintupled our Twitch viewership, that means today.
This is the World Championships, Terry.
We're bringing it on Twitch. Yeah, so to be fair, having those views also push over to the PDGA page, I know it might sound minor, but knowing that even views are going there and maybe or maybe not would be on the YouTube channel, I don't care about. It just comes down to the metrics and the analytics of saying, oh well, what if there were really 500 additional people there? That would bring our total to more than 6,000 when it was all said and done. And I don't know off the top of my head. I don't have access to those numbers this very moment, but that's also something to look at. So it's really cool to see the spread of people. And we've talked about this years ago. There's pros and cons to having it in more places. It might be more discoverable on 2 or 3 different platforms, just like when we have our podcast right now on both YouTube and on Facebook. But at the same time, it hurts when it comes to advertising, because you may go to someone and say, hey, do you want to advertise with us? We have this many viewers, and really it may or may not be fragmented due to trying to cover multiple platforms. But.
Yeah, I think Steve Hill from the PDGA said something along the lines of, I think they saw 15,000 views on Facebook, which a view on Facebook technically I believe is someone stopping for more than 3 seconds of autoplay when the play starts. So I don't know any of the other analytics as an average view time or whatever, but that's just a good way for us to really push that out there. What we should really be streaming to, Terry, is Mixer. Maybe I'll set that up. I mean, that's where all the kids are going.
That goes to all the bartenders across the country, right?
No. Not at all.
Idea.
That's where Ninja just went to, Terry. Ninja.
That's my boy, Ninja.
Ninja.
That's a boy, right? Ninja.
Yeah. So he just got.
I follow PewDiePie wherever he goes. That's where I go.
I wouldn't say that out loud. He has a not so great history with.
I know.
Some issues.
He has 100 million subscribers, and of course doesn't shy away from controversy. But that's a side note at this point.
So
all right. So reading a few other things. What percentage of funding comes from sponsors versus the PDGA? If you're talking about the broadcast, we don't know exactly what that percentage is. I will say that the event itself contributes, and every event's a little different. But the event may contribute, sponsors may contribute. The PDGA may contribute. Sometimes a sponsor will contribute to the event knowing that there's going to be live coverage, so indirectly they contribute. So it kind of gets I know that's a little bit of a non-answer, but our biggest supporter of putting on this broadcast is definitely the PDGA. So there's no second guessing or questioning any of that. And of course, we thank the PDGA for making that happen. What are the paid parking passes working out? Parking at Northwoods must be tight. Anyone know who was there? That I can't speak to because I haven't been out there. I know I'm staying near there, but I cannot speak to how that worked. I know you're exactly right, though, Cool One. The parking at Northwood, I believe they were reserving for players and the media and the staff, and that alone will take up almost every single parking space that's easily available. How they're handling additional parking on top of that, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. Sam Martin says, if I had it on the TV at work today, 2 coworkers joined in watching in. 1 a.m. working with to put a course in his town. Both never had watched disc golf, and they were impressed with you guys. Wow. Let's just don't tell them to watch any more then, because then we don't want the bar to lower. Will Paul hit 1060 for a rating this year? Maybe not. I was asked, Johnny, did you see the ace that got pushed around a little bit? Is there any way for you to easily show it? There was an ace.
I heard that
a dad filmed.
No, I heard there was an ace, but I honestly haven't seen any video of it yet.
I think if you go to, there was, I believe it was the father of the gentleman that got the ace. Was that you, Yostin? I apologize. Now I'm starting to put 2 and 2 in my head. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's probably Yostin, the gentleman that's messaging me and say, what about the ace? I didn't realize. Yostin, you need to share that with Johnny V so he could possibly play it.
Correct. I did see that there was an ace. Obviously, I haven't seen it yet.
We'll see if he can send it to you. He sent it to me, but I'm going to have him try and send it to you. I'm going to read a few details, and maybe he'll be able to get it over to you. It's on the bridge hole, hole number 9.
Newt Valen Holland.
Yeah, Yostin's son. Now I'm putting it all together. Thank you, Yostin. Yostin, who graciously organized that I come to Norway back in 2013, and I did not put together who aced, where it came from, who actually filmed, but now it makes sense when the UDIS gentleman said that it was a father that filmed his son getting an ace, and I know Yostin is here filming is watching his son. It's his first Worlds. It's an Avery Jenkins T-Bird on a 10-year anniversary of the Avery Jenkins title. That's a good story. I agree. Very, very cool. Did he happen to share it with you, Johnny? Or could you find it on UDisc maybe?
On UDisc?
Nope. Well, I mean, I'm sorry, on the UDisc Facebook page. I think he immediately shared it with them.
Oh.
But instead, I'm going to send it to you on Facebook. So if you can pull it up, Yostin would, sounds like he'd be more than happy for us to share it.
All right, hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can get this on our screen. I have that capability right now.
All right. Terry, what would you shoot at Eureka Lake and Northwood? Oh, my gosh. I don't even know if I'd shoot even par at Eureka. There's... yeah, maybe.
The way I like to answer that question is look at about what the 950 player shot, and that's probably around where we would shoot. All right, let me see if I can show this here. Ready?
Yep.
This is the bridge hole. Oh, a little slippage action.
Awesome. There's Trevor Lee Harbolt. All right. Well, very cool. Show it again, Johnny. Come on.
All right. You know how I can tell that the person who filmed this is old?
Wow.
Listen to what he says at the very end. Oh, you can't hear it. Never mind.
I can't hear it.
He basically says, I got this on tape. I got it on tape as well, he says. That's how you can tell when somebody is a little bit older.
No, to be fair, he's also from Norway, so maybe they still have it on tape there. I don't know.
No, it's a great shot. Congratulations. I just get a kick out of it when someone says, I got it on tape. Or can you tape that off the TiVo? People don't really say that anymore. It's just one of those old, and by I say old, I mean I'm 40, and we know what that means. But so congratulations on the ace. I'm glad we got to show it.
Yeah, very cool. And also, he wanted me to notice that today, as the ratings were released, again, things that I don't worry about anymore, for myself at least, as the ratings were released, he said he did it on the day that he reached 1,000 for his rating. So congratulations. What a day, huh?
Everything's coming together.
All right. Do we look at his total score?
No. He's further down. He's further down on the list.
Okay. He's tied for 50A.
Yeah, he shot even. So
there you go.
58th, I guess actually. Oh, that's why. Oh, I was looking at just one pool. That's why it looked like, or both pools. But anyway, still.
Yeah, I mean, right there in the company of Patrick Brown, Matt Dollar, Charlie Goodpasture, Kyle Webster, Will Schustrick, Jordan Castro. 58. Nothing.
That is
nothing wrong with that.
To be ashamed about.
Very, very cool. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to read a few more things, and then we're going to start wrapping things up. If I were to play either of the courses, by the way, there's without a doubt, not necessarily that I think I could just score better at Northwood, but I do enjoy playing a little bit more wooded style course as opposed to throwing Eureka. It'd take me probably like 3 shots to get over the fence at the far right side fence over at Eureka. Do you think the tight Northwoods can handle crowds on Friday and Saturday? That's going to be really tough. Depending on how large those crowds are out there, I'll just say that's going to be a challenge. That's going to be a challenge to the volunteer crew. It's going to be a challenge to the open lead card. It may or may not challenge the chase card, depending on how much separation's there. It could be a real challenge if of a fan favorite like a Simon Lizotte or a Paul Macbeth that find themselves on the chase card, and the gallery is enormous, and they're still kind of jockeying for position with when the lead card is also out on the course, maybe just a few holes behind them. So those are things we'll have to continue to watch. Joel says, hi, Smashbox. Shout out to my newborn. Sorry, I got to find that. My newborn Melody Aria Inciso, 1 month old, our next disc golfer. Very cool. And all right.
Melody Aria. Someone's a fan of Game of Thrones.
Or they're punking us.
Disc Golf Luke says...
Looks like Tyler from Disc Golf Comedy's on the board and is chiming in. Hello, Tyler. Great work working on that piece that you did with True Disc, and we appreciate it. Joe?
I was going to say, Disc Golf Luke says, discourse, I think he means discuss. The following idea: PDGA membership cost increase an extra $1 to $5 per member, and then all of the additional money goes to World's payout. I think we've talked about this a little bit in the past, and most of the time we tend to shy away from that idea because charging everybody to pay a very few amount of people, it usually does not seem to work out, or a lot of people don't necessarily agree with that avenue of attack for raising money.
Correct. If you have 30 or 40,000 members that pay for a given year, 50,000, whatever the current membership number is, and they all pay in $1 or $2 or $4 extra dollars. And then you turn and look at again, I think it's 70-ish% of our members are amateurs. But then you turn and look at, there's roughly 250 competitors here. One could make an argument, and I see it both sides, because that would be a way to raise money quickly, I guess. But another argument on the opposite side of that is we're gonna take $2 from 50,000 members to then benefit at most 250 that are playing in the event, and not even 250 that will cash. It'll only be roughly 40% of those will even get the cash. So I see it. There is an idea to it. Matt Hall, a name I haven't said too often lately, but Matt Hall really championed that thought 10 years ago. He may still be on that hill at the moment, stomping on that hill as an idea. And I'm not saying it's a terrible idea by any means. It's a very legitimate idea, but there's 2 or 3 different ways to look at it. So
I've seen other methods, and Ray brings this up about how about that money goes to Smashbox. I have seen people.
Yes, done.
We're done. Sold, stamped, and approved. That something like that goes towards media to help cover more cards and things like that. And that's I don't even agree with that particularly. There's a budget for media, and if the PDGA sees a reason to increase the budget, that's fine. It's funny because I have this thing where people say, well, you should raise it $1 to $5 for this thing. Let's just say I were the PDGA and I were going to decide to do that internally, there's no way I would tell the members that I was doing it for that. Like, I would just say, hey, fees are going up an extra $3 this year, and that's what they're doing. And if you want to then increase the budget for your media, for your pro worlds, for your staffing, for whatever, that's the smart way to do it. Never say that the money is going for a specific thing, because all you're doing is dividing people and setting people on each side of the thing to argue about it. And I'm a big fan of the PDGA having an open book as far as their finances and this and that, but it's all in how you sell it, I believe.
I agree. And some people have a really good idea on the boards, just saying, well, what if you made an optional either donation tab or ticket or amount? That's an idea as well. Another option that people sometimes look into is, becoming a Birdie or an Ace Club member. That's another way that you can contribute. You actually get something tangible back. In addition, if you give more than what your membership fee is, and you opt for the Birdie or the Ace Club. So those are ways you could support the PDGA as well. Would it hurt anything to maybe have 1 or 2, we'll say, additional options that would, as you're checking out on the PDGA membership renewal page, that says, would you like to donate anywhere, have a slider, a donation button to go to the Worlds payout, and would you like to have it go toward media? You could do that, maybe. Mm-hmm. But then where are you going to draw the line? Because then naturally you'd say, well, how about to educational funding? Would you like to make a separate donation that goes to, new course development around the world? I mean, those are, pretty soon you're going to have a list of 40, and maybe that's an answer. Maybe you do have a list, and it's 40 different initiatives, and they're all blank by default. And if you'd like to donate any given amount to any of those initiatives, you could do it at checkout. Maybe. Okay, Terry. I know I wouldn't hold my breath on any of those making any real money, but it might be a good idea to give the option.
All right. You talked about this in the broadcast. We talked about it last week. I need a final answer from you. Final round. No. We'll say 4th round. Emerson Keith gets the call saying, I think it's time. He's either in the lead or within a stroke or 2. Stay or go.
I think I don't even think, I almost know he will stay.
I think so too. But and you think that's the right decision?
I'm not in that household.
Come on, Terry. You have to make...
The cops were, but I wasn't.
The cops were in that household.
If he has that relationship, that they're under that understanding that disc golf is that much of his life, it sounds like it could fly. Like, hopefully not the kid, but I mean, it sounds like it could fly, and that could be okay.
I think you stay.
Josh Anthon, I gave him a ride to the course this morning, and he is now blessed with 2 sons. And we talked about that very thing that Keith said. But winning a world championships changes your life in the disc golf scene. It changes your life. And he then followed up and said, and he goes, and it changes your life of your kids. I mean, you know, directly or indirectly, it of course it does. You know, and if he's okay with that and his wife is okay with that, I'm certainly not going to judge it.
No, I wouldn't judge it either way if he left or if he stayed. I'm just in the camp of I think it's the smarter decision to stay. It might not be the emotional decision, but I think it's the smarter for career, assuming you're in the hunt. If you're back by 8 to 9 strokes going up against Paul, KJ, Eagle, Simon, and you got 1 round to go, you're probably not making that up. And then I think maybe you just say, see you later. But yeah, and you take that, then you get to take that bottom cut cash line.
Well,
but I think
hopefully none of that becomes an issue. You know, I mean, what do we need? The best of both worlds for him. He wins on Saturday and drives home, and the child's born on Sunday. Maybe that's the best case scenario for him. Someone had asked when the actual due date is. Was it the 26th? Johnny,
it's later. It's later at the end of August. I recall that. I mean, it's a fun thing to joke about. I don't cross our fingers, and anything can happen. We all know. I don't think it's really true. It's a very small window of it actually happening. The percentages are low. So
I don't know if I'd say that.
I would. But someone to go 3 weeks early, 2 weeks early, 2.5 weeks early. I think it's
UDisc needs to update their stats. I'd like to know what the stats on that are. The probabilities. I'm sure we could Google it, and I'm not going to bother now.
No.
But
all right.
Who knows? Who knows? All right. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here and call it. We do have a great group of people watching, and I hear a little ruckus up above me at the bar. I have to go see what's going on. But I'm going to call it a night. We're going to be back here tomorrow morning. I'm going to be sitting in this very chair in, I guess, 10 hours, whatever it is. We're going to be back for it, bringing you guys the action. I'm super excited to do so, along with Johnny and the rest of the crew. So this has been, in fact, SmashBoxxTV Podcast 260, coming to you live from the World Championships in Peoria and surrounding area of Illinois. Thank you guys for joining us today. Huge shout out again to Joey, along with Ryan and Gary to the O for hustling around with those cameras today to make it happen, along with Dixon, my co-host, in Robert McCall, and Johnny B switching the show. Thank you guys. We'll see you tomorrow morning for FPO round number 2 lead card here at the Worlds. We'll see you then. You step inside the Smashbox.